saw Bonnie Lewis for seafood catches that, and taking everybody out, good.
Yeah.
Glad to, figured that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Glad they did. Oh, yeah, okay, gotcha.
Correct.
And the lights in the garage, actually, those are done?
Yep.
Nice. All kinds of stuff going on. All right. I will call the meeting to order. It is 5:06 on Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. Roll call, we have Selectman Howdy Goodwin, Eric Eaton, Mackenzie Jewett, Kevin Buck, myself, Jamie Thurlow, Town Manager Jesse Dunbar, Town Clerk Sarah Abbott. Adoption of agenda, is there anything anyone would like to change? Okay, first thing we have is a public hearing for traffic control and parking ordinance. I will open the public hearing at 5:07. Do you wanna summarize, Jesse, or?
Yep, so this was, discussed at your last meeting, we were just adding the explicit language allowing the town to have a vehicle towed that's not in compliance with the ordinance, and then updating where it previously said Hancock County Sheriff's to Suffolk County Police Department.
Keith?
One thing that comes to my attention is we're trying to minimize the amount of staff that's parked over by the dumpsters in the kitchen at the school. I didn't know if there'd be any way to better regulate the empty boat trailers that are in that parking lot after September 1st, because right now it's taking up about 5 to 6 parking spaces. I mean, I know you need to have a place to park them, but I don't know if there would be, or permission for the public works to relocate them at or different places, but I don't know if that has to be in the language of that, but.
Someone mentioned the other day too, just to go off of that, why don't we clear up, I mean, it wouldn't take much, just kind of bulldoze it, clean it up between there and where the floats go.
They're actually doing that currently.
Oh, all right. Someone asked me the other day, they're like, why couldn't they move the boat trailers down by those floats further? And,
Yeah.
it would free up that whole area. Well, there.
Yeah, so the harbor master's been working, the last couple days on notifying boat trailer owners, and moving the ones that he hasn't been able to notify, down that way.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the ordinance, I believe, specifies municipal and school activities, so we can ask them to move them up. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a great idea. Glad you guys are doing that, I didn't even notice. That will, free up if you could slide that stuff down some.
Yeah, they had actually, Public Works started it a little bit last year, but there was a duck nest in an area that we were trying to clear and they left it. So I've just had them start going back.
No more duck nest.
There is not one here.
Should there be something in there? I thought there was at one point about the vehicles need to be registered and inspected. And if there's in there, I missed it. I skimmed it
I
pretty quickly.
believe it is, cause we had that conversation with the officer. Unregistered vehicles and
Yep.
trailers parked in municipal parking lots will be towed away.
Yep, right here on O.
Oh, okay.
Yep, right on that first one.
Sole use of license.
Okay, I thought it was in there, but I missed it.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Thanks. The other thing about the Murphy lot too, is we do have a couple EV chargers there.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if you consider that municipal use, whether the town owns them, but
yeah.
I don't know if that needs to be mentioned or just general knowledge.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
That answered your question too, didn't it? Keith, did that? Yep.
Yeah, I'd
Yep.
rather already be on with it.
Yep.
It seems like it's
All right, any more questions? All right, I will close the public hearing at 5:11. Do we have a motion for that?
I move to adopt and sign the September 2nd, 2025 version of the traffic control and parking ordinance.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt and sign the September 2nd, 2025 version of the traffic control and parking ordinance. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Alright, now we have approval of minutes. We have the minutes from August 11th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 11th, 2025.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from August 11th, 2025. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Approval of warrants. We have warrant number 145 from FY 25. And then from FY 26, we have warrant 18 for $17,766.37. Warrant 19 for $18,539.51. 20 for $16,508.25. 21 for $6,943.83. 22 for $17,416.11. And warrant 23 for $215,584.07.
Make a motion to approve warrant 145 from fiscal year 25 and warrants 18 through 23 on fiscal year 26.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve warrants 145 from fiscal year 25 and warrants 18 through 23 from fiscal year 26. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Jesse,
Yep, warrant factor.
Next is regular business. First thing we have is land use ordinance amendments. And would you, I was gonna say, do you want to give a summary, Angie, of what the changes are? Do you want Jesse to kinda give us the,
I don't mind doing it.
okay,
Is it okay if I go out of order, just
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
temporary
sure.
sales is.
yeah,
gonna be-
whatever one we have first, so,
Okay, yeah, I think temporary sales is gonna be the most, discussed.
okay.
So, as far as the official zoning map and zone criteria, so that ordinance is going to, change the rules to only apply to land within 250 feet of the water or wetlands as intended by state law, because that's not what our map does now. It fixes mapping areas where wetlands were shown in the wrong zones. It updates the map, so Acadia National Park land, like the Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse, is not shown in a local zoning district because we don't apply local zoning to park property. And then changes the zoning for a residential neighborhood, which is currently zoned commercial fishery and maritime activities, so that homeowners are no longer restricted by rules that were meant for working waterfronts.
Can you explain that one a little bit more?
So, the area on the water side by Pointy Head, the actual point,
Yep.
going up the hill and, a little bit further, it's, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 lots past there. It's zoned commercial fisheries and maritime activities. And I looked at the map and it's exclusively residential homes. And residential homes are not allowed in commercial fishery and maritime activity. So all of those properties are non-conforming and would be restricted onto expansions or replacement. They just didn't make any sense to have a residential area zoned for commercial when there is no commercial there. So right next door is the harbor shoreland, so we just extended that further down to cover those residential properties.
So does that change it if a fisherman were to live there, would that change their rules to be a commercial property for them?
It wouldn't change the rules, but a commercial fisherman could certainly still live there and fish off his own pier if he wants to.
The harbor zone allows commercial fishing. The commercial fishing zone that is in currently only allows commercial fishing. So, yes, if it changes to harbor and a fisherman buys it, he can start a commercial fisheries
Right.
business
So it's
there.
harbor residential.
Right,
Yeah, and that
Not
allows
just-
residential and commercial.
right.
Right, I just wanted to make sure we're not getting rid of the commercial aspect of
Right.
the land.
Correct.
We're just
Okay.
sort of
It's down
including
where
residential.
Ben Harper lives, you know, out on
Yeah.
that point. Yeah, it's all, I mean, there hasn't been a dock there as long as I've been alive. There was Lyford Stanley's dock that was there, but that was shut down.
Well,
That's-
yeah,
that's
I
what
guess-
It's still there with residential.
Yeah, that's just residential, so there's not even any commercial properties anywhere there.
right, currently, but that doesn't mean it could never change.
Yeah,
I just
what
wanna
I mean-
protect.
Yeah, it will always be, it just makes it so commercial maritime use, has to be a commercial maritime use there has to be one on the property technically,
Right.
is
Yeah.
what I've learned from all my properties, so you have to have one commercial maritime use on there, not one of them has it.
Right, cause they've all been passed down through family, most of them then sold
Yeah.
and whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of it was before zoning. I mean, I'm living in one.
yeah.
Where's the line that you're proposing being drawn? I see the detail, but I can't.
It'd be on, Lyman.
Okay,
Right.
is it basically what would it be, the east side of Harvard Drive, or is it not there? I mean, is
Does it
it
make
different
it,
than the road boundary, I guess?
does it make it Kevin's property?
No.
No, I'm
No.
afraid I'm on the wrong side
No,
of that.
it's,
It
my
doesn't
point is
pass
though,
pointing.
isn't that the same thing though? Because that's what I've always, I think is where Kevin's is all, cause my
all
dog
residential,
and
yeah.
Kim Strauss's are the first commercial properties on those, all those houses that are built right on the water, not a one of them have a commercial use.
Well, they gotta move out then.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you protect our waterfront
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but that's been kind of the thought about keeping the zones that way, so that's why I was wondering where the line was being drawn. I mean, I understand,
North of 20.
okay.
Right. Yeah, I didn't wanna go any further without really looking at what exists in that district.
Okay. Okay.
That small section is pretty obvious.
So if you just left it how it was, or if we left it how it was, or how it is,
Yep.
that just makes it so they can't expand on their property,
Right,
which
they're a
is,
non-conforming use, so they can't expand, means if they had enough land and they wanted to add another dwelling unit, they wouldn't be able to do that.
like, just,
They couldn't
Yeah.
have an accessory, residential structure, so a garage or a shed.
Everything's
Most of those
grandfathered.
lots aren't big enough to expand anyway, though, are they? I don't know, maybe Climate's
There
in the
might be
next one,
some,
yeah, maybe
yeah.
a couple of those might.
Yeah.
Everything's grandfathered there, is what it would be. It's all,
Yeah,
you know,
it's-
it would be locked into what it is.
that's kind of the way it should be,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Just because as soon as you give that up, then that property value still goes up and up and up, which it's gonna do anyways, but it just makes it harder for locals to be able to do what locals do, live here.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's kinda already there, but I mean.
I know it is, but you just give them a permission slip to make it
Do
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
bigger and
yeah.
put more rentals on it, whatever, you know, I mean, that's just my point of view. I don't wanna,
None of those properties are probably would be commercial, they're not on the water. Or are you talking the western,
There
yeah, those are included too,
Yeah.
those are on the water, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like if we leave it commercial fishing and a structure can't be enlarged to a big mansion or whatever, then it keeps that property almost more affordable for a fisherman or somebody later on down the road that could potentially buy it, if it came up for sale and put a dock there and run their
Well,
business.
the one thing I can see that might make that happen too is if something happens to a property, it burns or whatever, and it loses its grandfathering. then it's locked up for commercial fishing, correct?
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to build a house back.
Yeah, once it lost the grandfather, yeah.
And it's not commercial fishing. I just wanna clarify, everybody always says
Maritime use.
commercial maritime use, which
Still,
means that
I
it has to
mean-
be a water dependent use.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, Angie, I'm not trying to steal you, I'm just, everybody always says that, they're like, it has
That's
to be fishing, and I'm like, no, it doesn't. This doesn't have to be fishing.
Yeah.
There's a list 25 miles long that it could be, kayak rentals. There you go, can be that.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I also just wanted to clarify, your motions tonight are to place the questions on the ballot. If you should want any changes to the actual documents, we have until October 20th, which is when your public hearing will be, to change, for instance, if you wanted to change that zone back or whatever. Your motions tonight are for the question on the ballot.
Yeah, I understand where Eric's coming from with that. I think that was a good conversation 5 or 6 years ago. But I think that the last few houses I've seen for sale down there, even for, I mean, it's totally out of the,
Yeah.
it's not even in the ballpark.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
doesn't
not
matter.
gonna go down.
Yeah, well, it still doesn't matter, it's still currently protecting the right for the way that people around here
Yeah.
make their living.
Mhm.
That's, I'm gonna stand by that.
Yeah, it's just not working. It's not doing its job if
It's
that's what
not
meant to do.
working,
Yeah.
it's also not letting them build whatever they want.
Yeah,
So it is working in a way, it's just not being bought up by people for the use that it's supposed to be,
yeah.
but doesn't mean it can't be.
How far north of there does that zone go currently? I mean, I'm,
You know the White House that's been under construction for a while, there's like a porta
right there
potty
by
right there.
Yeah.
Mel
Oh, right
Atherton's,
next to
yeah,
Mel,
yeah,
yeah, that's where it
all the
is.
way up to there.
Yeah.
Ronald
That's quite a good
Johnson's old
property.
house. Yeah.
See, I thought that John Mitchell's for some reason was not in maritime commercial. The, used to be the black house there, I thought for some
Oh.
reason when that was listed for sale, that was actually, residential, that's the house before it with a pier, that actually has a dock.
Yeah.
The one property that has a dock there.
Yeah, no, that would be commercial fishing in there.
Oh, it is,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, then I will,
Yeah.
I'll side with Eric on that one, on at least that property to that. I'd like to see that stay commercial fishing maritime, you know, if the line got moved, none the least, because, that property, for instance, still has potential to be locked in.
That's the
in-
one right across from the cemetery.
Yes,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah.
John and Teresa Mitchell
Yeah,
have it
yeah.
for, they rent it and their kids use the dock and stuff, so that would be nice to see that locked in, for sure.
So this would change that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only one I could think of that I,
So if this passed, they wouldn't be able to use their dock?
oh no,
No, that's not.
Right, they would still.
They would still, oh, okay, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
But
it just kinda protects it, like if, so, correct me if I'm wrong. So if Eric came along, you own the property and he came along and said, I'll give you $5 million for it, then he could build a substantially larger house there and do away with the dock and not need it. Doesn't have to be there.
Right.
But if you keep it maritime use, they couldn't expand much at all and the dock would have to stay.
We have so much land in this town that is already on waterfront that isn't really protected like this, and I just hate to lose it, that's all.
Yeah, that's one property that I can think of that, I mean, I don't wanna single them out, I don't, it's not that I know traditionally that has been a fishing family's wharf for, as
Yeah.
Howdy knows, more than I do, for a long generations, so, it'd be nice to see that.
Yeah. And, yeah, I'd have to look and see what other uses are allowed in Harbor Shoreland, because there is a lot allowed in that district.
Okay.
I think the other idea that, you know, the board was thinking about was, you know, we want to encourage housing, we don't want districts that don't allow housing, so,
Mhm.
Right, but we're encouraging the wrong, well, not, I need to say this right, I don't know how to say it. You're encouraging mansions on the shore, not the working waterfront. That's how I look at it.
Driving
And
us out of town.
we need to protect our working waterfront. So a lot of our zoning is set pretty good to do that and start, I don't think messing with it's a good idea. But. So Jesse, if the motion tonight is just to put this on the ballot, but
Yep.
it still can be changed, why can't we change it now, or?
I mean, you can request it to change now, yeah,
Yeah.
if that's,
Yeah.
if you're in agreement. The motion just doesn't, specify like the context of.
Are they gonna be, three separate
Yeah,
voting items?
so your motion is to place an amendment to the land
But
use
it's not
ordinance
a vote.
entitled official zoning map and zone criteria on the ballot.
Right, they gotta
So-
change it.
But yes, if you're all in agreement now, that you would like Angie to amend that piece, then you would ask her to do so now versus waiting.
I don't even know how to make a motion like that. What exactly?
You could make a motion requesting the code officer remove the change to commercial fishing along Harbor Drive.
Proposed
The
change.
proposed change.
To what he said.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to ask the code officer to amend the, commercial, waterfront use to the shoreline zoning, right? I don't know.
And then the proposed change.
Amend the proposed change, sure.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to ask, the code enforcer Angie to amend the section of, what is this one titled? Official zoning map and zone criteria to exclude the section along Harbor Drive that is currently commercial maritime use. Does that sound?
Yep.
Okay,
May I ask a question?
yeah,
So
okay, so,
you want the whole district to go back the way it was? We're not gonna do one property?
Is
one
that-
thing?
Correct.
Okay.
that's
Just wanna
here.
make sure I know what I'm.
Okay.
That's what I was wondering.
Jamie, you did a much better job.
Okay, well, in the, okay, so, yeah, any comments I'm supposed to say, and then, so who, the only thing is, I don't wanna, this was the planning board who did this? I know.
Yeah, Angie's just the messenger.
I know, well, that's, no, but I just mean, like, I hate to, is there a proper way that we should do this so that we ask them to look at it again, or would you rather just have us ask you to?
That would be.
Okay,
We'll just leave it.
alright, I'm just checking just to be sure that,
I think it's fine.
okay. Alright, any other questions, comments, or anything? All those in favor? You thought that was gonna be the easy one, Angie. Alright, which one do you want next now?
All right, the shoreline zoning and articles update. So, the biggest piece of this is this updates the local rules to match the main DEP standards for shoreline zoning. We are, we're deficient in, complying with the main DEP rules as it relates to shoreline zoning. We have some standards that clarify that the tree clearing, rules are only for shoreline areas, not townwide, because that's not clear. There's new rules for removing dead, storm damaged, or hazard trees in the shoreland, and that's a DEP requirement. Making clear that certain rules only apply to shoreline properties, just so that's, not being, applied everywhere. I set up all the zoning districts, so they're in the same format, they follow the same organization, making it easier to find and compare one zone to another. I fixed spelling, formatting, removed confusing or unnecessary language, and I, cleaned up the permit procedures a little bit and added definitions for 1 and 2 family dwellings. We use use those terms a lot in the ordinance, and we don't have any definitions for them. So, that's it for that one.
So basically no no substantive changes that aren't of course on us by the DEP anyway.
I mean, 90% of this document is DEP required.
Yeah.
And as I was working on certain sections, I'm like, well, why don't I fix this spelling error?
Yeah.
And reorganize this whole, I've got this section open.
Sounds good to me.
Do we need a motion on each one, or does that even?
I was gonna say, we didn't make one on your last one, so
Right.
if you want to do them at the end, or you can go now, it's up to you.
I'll make a motion to place an amendment of the land use ordinance entitled Shoreland Zoning and Multiple Particles Amendment on the ballot for November 4th, 2025 election, and recommend passage.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to place an amendment to the land use ordinance entitled Shoreland Zoning and Multiple Articles Amendment on the ballot for the November 4th, 2025 election and recommend passage. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Eric, would you like to make one for the last one you did?
Yeah, do I have to change it at all, or?
No.
Okay.
Because we've already talked about it and made a separate motion,
Okay.
so.
A motion to place an amendment to the land use ordinance entitled Official Zoning Map and Zone Criteria on the ballot for the November 4th, 2025 election and recommend passage. Is that the right one?
Yep.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, to place an amendment to the land use ordinance entitled Official Zoning Map and Zone Criteria on the ballot for the November 4th, 2025 election and recommend passage. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Just a second.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Nope. Back to back.
Yeah, okay, so the only change we're asking not to make, I just wanted to make sure the other changes, there were other changes in there other than the CMFA zone, CFMA, whatever it is. That's why I just wanted to look, because I was thinking that's what we discussed. There's more than that in there, isn't there, the other zones?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that was it.
Would you like a second to look at it more?
No,
Okay.
we've talked about it a bunch, I'm just trying to make sure I get it all in context. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. All right, all those in favor? All right, lastly, land use ordinance, temporary sales.
So this one, when I first came here, like my first month, I got to attend an appeals board meeting for a food truck. And at that meeting, it was pretty obvious to me that the temporary sales ordinance was deficient and didn't work well. Unfortunately, we had a property owner who was granted a permit, and then the appeals board overturned that permit and said it shouldn't have been issued, it should have gone to planning board. The language just isn't clear, it's not a well-written section of the ordinance. So, this was one of the first things I started working on, and it was to establish clear rules for the food trucks and outdoor markets, just trying to get rules that everybody understood and applied the same way. We added some definitions for mobile vendor, outdoor market, and then we added some language about the length of time that temporary sales could be operated under a code officer permit versus planning board. Trying to keep in mind that the town itself puts on events and has food trucks, and we don't want that kind of stuff to go to the planning board when it's just a weekend long, that type of thing. So we clarified where temporary sales are allowed, who the permitting authority is, and what rules applicants have to follow. So in the first section, I added new definitions because we didn't have any, and that was one of the most contentious parts of the ordinance when it was in front of the appeals board, was the term itinerant, and what does that mean? So on the first page, I added those definitions. On the second page, A, B, C, E, F, G are already in the ordinance. That's not new language, it's just reorganized in a different way. We added language that you have to have, a trash receptacle. We added language that says any exterior lighting has to comply with the ordinance. And we added that temporary toilets are not allowed for long-term use. If you have a short weekend event or whatever, temporary toilets were fine. Under standards for mobile vending units, some of that was already there as well. We clarified a few things. We limited the length of a mobile vending unit to 26 feet, which, most food trucks don't exceed 26 feet even. The old ordinance said that you could have a 1,000 square foot food truck, that's massive. If you really truly think about a food truck that travels on the road, you wouldn't have something 1,000 square feet. So we limited it to 300 square feet. And then we added more information about, if you're there for no more than 3 days in a row, 6 days in a 30-day period, or less than three consecutive months, then you just could get a permit from the code enforcement officer. But if you were gonna operate there for longer periods of time, you had to go to planning board and get approved. After the meeting last week, the board voted to add language to grandfather the one existing food truck that we have. So he would be able to continue renewing and following the same rules that he was permitted under previously. We added language about outdoor markets because, you have an outdoor market that started earlier this season. I used language that was pretty typical for farmers markets, but expanded it to jewelry and crafts and things like that. And then the bottom of page 3, we added application requirements. So what is the kind of information you want to supply us when you apply? Just basically talking about what you're selling, where it's gonna go on the property. And again, on page 4, number 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 are already in the language that we have. I just moved it to a different location. And then again, permitting authority just clearly outlines if you're operating for a short period of time, it's just a permit from me. Otherwise, it would be planning board. One-time events, so you wanna have a birthday party for your kid and have a food truck, you don't need anything. Permits are still valid for 1 year, they have to be renewed annually. And then once an applicant has planning board approval, they don't need to go back to planning board, they can just renew with the code officer. And then, just some standard language that it's a violation if you don't get a permit and conduct any temporary sales. And that's it. And we added some, I cleaned up the table a little bit. Temporary sales wasn't even listed in here before, and I added it just so it's clear that it's where it's permitted. So that was another issue.
So big things, square footage, correct? What was the, how big is
300 square feet.
the White Side Snacks? That's smaller than that, right?
Yeah, I think he's smaller than that.
Yeah,
He
gotta
wasn't
figure
sure.
that's like, an 8 feet wide's about what you're gonna get for a thing, so 8 by 30, or will it be 8
Yeah, it's
by
not even
30?
that long,
Yeah,
but yeah.
you
8 by
couldn't remember if
38
it's
or
24 or 26.
Okay.
Yeah. Keith?
Yes, so for clarification, what would the one that Eric just mentioned not saying I don't like being there, but is it a food truck or is it a permanent truck? And, I thought this ordinance would address that.
I think it was stated at the meeting, their motion was to, anything prior, permanent to that date, not to try to, basically, if you wanna summarize it better than me, Angie, but he basically said that, he would have to change a lot to be able to fit the new standards, and he would just not do that. More or
Yeah,
less.
and he
I
was
mean, it
also
would- it would be a
concerned about
challenge.
the state license, which, permits him as a mobile food truck. And he was afraid that if he changed his use to a commercial use, he might have a problem getting his license from the state. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but he didn't know. But he would still fall under temporary sales, and he would be protected to operate the way he operates now under, section 3H.
He could never transfer his permit, could never, if his permit lapses, then it will become null and void.
So would, as an abutter, would they address my issues at the renewal each year or at this stage, I'm just curious, but, and also as, he also, where it is basically a permanent structure, he also doesn't comply with a lot of, standards within the structure because he has that ability to bypass that because it is considered temporary structure, so.
He's
Yeah.
not a permanent structure, right? He's on
Well,
wheels,
I
he
mean,
can pick it up and move it if he
And
wants.
that's my, it's so hard to draw the line, and I understand why this has become an issue, because, if you think of a food truck, a lot of places, you know, they move around daily. But really, as long as it's able to move, if he could unplug that and go take it for a trip around Seawall and park it back there, then it would be, you know, in my eyes, it would meet the standard. Like, that's mobile enough for me, but I know it's, it's very hard. I don't know how you can make
Well,
the
and I think the problem
determination.
is that you have that opinion and you're not alone, but unfortunately, the appeals board did not see it that way
I
and
know.
therefore overturned his permit. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think we wanna give property owners assurance that they can rely on their permit, that it's granted and it's not gonna be revoked by
Yeah.
another body. So the better the language, the better it is for everybody.
Mhm.
So, in this case where they made an exemption for him, can they require him to have a bathroom in a dumpster? I don't know,
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
okay,
No.
so.
Yeah.
He doesn't count, like he,
What's that?
well, that's not the right way to say
No,
it.
I'm saying currently.
It does, this doesn't affect him, I guess is what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
There's only one in town, and that's, I understand. If there was a half a
I'm just
dozen.
saying, I am the abutter, and, yeah, I do occasionally see the guests go around the back of the property and help themselves, you know, cause there's no bathroom facility, so they just make do, but I also wonder where the employees themselves use for bathrooms and those sort of things too, but
Do they have porta potties down there?
they have one.
Technically, state law doesn't allow.
Right. So I'm saying, if you're gonna say it's a permanent structure, then,
Yeah.
I'll bring it up when you go through this permit.
Yeah. And they can't, I know, that doesn't make any sense. So you can't have a porta potty because it's a temporary structure.
What's the length of time?
Yeah,
Uh,
there's
Can't have
something-
one, they just changed it.
Yeah, they just changed it, I don't,
It's just ridiculous.
You
You
can't
have a
have
porta
one
potty.
more than 2 feet.
If you wanna be a food truck, be a food
I
truck.
think they
You gotta play the
thing.
rules.
Yeah, unless you're a construction site, you're not really allowed to have a porta potty per state law.
More than a
Okay.
few days or something.
More
Just-
than- yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
So what are the fancy ones down there at Archie's? I mean, it's not really a porta potty, right?
Ah! True
Okay.
though, right?
Well,
I mean-
those, never mind.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Well, they don't tie into the septic system, but my case is, so do I deal with it now, just gave them a free pass when the neighbors were told it was gonna be a food truck, and it's never been a food truck. It's been, it's basically, operates like a year-round business, and held to the standards of a year-round business, so. I'm not trying to fight, I mean, I go over there and buy my occasional, this is how we do my French fries and stuff, but I just, as an abutter, exception for people, yes, you're helping them out, but you're also, compromising what the neighbors and the rest of the town is.
That'd be my suggestion, would be to go talk to him and say, hey,
And-
this is my,
Right.
you know, this
And
is
it
what the
also,
concerns are. and-
if he's gonna have a permanent structure, then he should probably comply with local building fire codes or something. Kinda, yes, give him a free pass.
I had one question for you, Angie, about there was a lot of talk about power use at that meeting, and I didn't ask. So you can still have power, like you could go somewheres and plug in, am I correct? I just thought of a generator, it's like, why would you want someone to run a generator versus just be able to plug into like a 220 outlet somewhere, and that way they're quiet?
So, it was already in the ordinance, and it stayed in the ordinance, that you could not be permanently affixed to any structures, poles. You can't have any permanent improvements to the site, so we did keep it the same, we didn't change
Sure.
it.
You can
But-
plug in.
But if it's removable, if it's a way to be removable,
But I
then,
agree, I would rather have someone plug into
Yeah.
a permanent
Yeah.
electrical installation than run
Yeah.
a generator.
So if someone sets up a food truck park and puts outlets in, is that a permanent upgrade on on the site? I mean,
I mean, that's how the appeals board saw it. They-
yeah, okay, but I mean,
Yeah.
I know, I'm just trying to clear it up, just so that doesn't come, because seems to me it's just common sense, that if Howdy wants a food truck beside his shop, then you put a 220 outlet on the side of it and just be able to plug into it, and that way you don't have to run a generator all day, cause then you're gonna have the neighbors complaining, cause you've got a generator running all day, so.
the fumes and just.
Yeah, and just, yeah, it doesn't,
My thought would be if Versant is wiring to the building,
Yes.
meter, that's permanently installing electrical service to the
Mhm.
building. But if you're plugging in to
Run the cord.
something that's on a pole,
Yeah.
my opinion is that you're not permanently.
You can just go and unplug it, so
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
permanent.
I'm just trying to save Angie and everybody headaches from down the road. Like if something ever goes to appeals board again like that, if we could put in, if there was language in there that said, you know, very descriptive, like, plugging in, you know, a removable receptacle or a heavy-duty receptacle or something could be used. Just no permanent, I don't know how the heck you would ever write that in there, but just so I understand,
Well,
no,
it's not
can't be
hardwired.
hardwired, yeah.
Right.
But then you have to think of a better definition than that here.
Must have plug.
Yeah, must have plug, yeah. 30-second removal, you just pair of loppers and you could, yeah.
Come on now.
Big arc.
Yeah.
So, back to
this-
the, oh, go ahead.
Well, I mean, we're talking about food trucks, but this like gives you rules for farmers markets and other things like that. I just feel like we're not being very welcoming. I think we're making it very hard for people to get ahead or do what they wanna do. I mean, I understand we need to clear it up, but it just seems like, and I wish somebody from the planning board was here because this vibe is totally different than that last meeting.
Yeah, I
Very
understand,
different, yeah.
trying to put definitions to it, because I think that,
Yeah.
in a case like Tina's, that, there's just too many gray areas, so it's hard that's why I'm saying, a little thing like that could hold them up, like, the word of it being mobile, whatever, what is the actual, what are they calling it?
It's itinerant,
Okay,
yeah, we
Itinerant.
don't use that anymore.
so, yes,
bad,
that's what I'm
yes,
saying,
yeah.
using a different word for that, try to think of power, like how, cause I know that's a big one. And like you said, Mackenzie, to me, I think that if someone's gonna have, food, you know, whatever you wanna call it, farm stand, they can go in and talk to Angie, and she ought to be able to do that. They don't need to go through the planning
Well, I
board.
think it depends on the planning board's mood of the day, can they? Right? I mean, we're just throwing hurdles in front of people like left and right, and it just doesn't
Yeah,
look
I
good to me,
hate
but
to tell someone in front of the planning board, you know, when it's.
they're making
so-
it very difficult
Yeah.
for anybody to, and like the farmer's market that, I don't know if it's still happening at the
It's
school.
been suspended for the year.
Yeah,
Oh,
twice as much.
but it would have made that harder for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got some issues, you know, with stuff like that too. The food truck licensing, if someone shows up and they have a truly mobile food truck that moves from where they wanna be here from May through September over the 3-month period, is that a planning board issue?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
If
mean,
it's
they're not
over
tied
the
to one
3
spot, they
days.
might set up at the turnout from, like Frank Keenan used to do.
Mhm.
They may go, I know the town dock's off limits unless it's special, but, you know, maybe right next door to it. Or, you know, move it around, you know. Does that go to planning board under these rules?
Under the new rules,
Yeah,
if you're there for a couple of days.
More than 3, is it?
Or, so more than 3 in a row, or 6 days in a 30-day period,
In the
so
sa-
you could go, 3 weekends out of
Yeah.
a month.
yeah,
You could get
in the
permit.
same spot.
Right.
If they move around, it's, I don't know,
I think-
I agree, I don't wanna make this too difficult.
The other
Yeah.
thing is like, we like change the rules midway through and we
Yeah.
keep bringing up Quiet Side, snacks or whatever it's called. I mean, he kind of got snuck through, right, or sort of pushed through, but what if it's the next one? You know, like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel good to me, so.
So, something about what Keith was saying about his being a butter and people using his facilities. We can't require, they can't have an outhouse, but can we figure out how to require these non-permanent food trucks to have a holding tank and a small bathroom? Because there is a lot of people down there, and that might just solve one of these issues, if they could also put their gray water into that holding tank and have it pumped, every month or whatever. Is that something?
You gotta talk to the governor, she don't allow them in either. She said none of those, no porta potties now either, so you're not allowed to have a holding tank, are you?
You can have.
You can have a holding tank? I thought.
Oh, there's a good idea
for you right there.
Yeah, no, I thought that it
Not in all
was,
situations, but
yeah.
yes.
So, in Keith's position, that might make him happier if they had a bathroom, that they weren't going over to your lawn. Because there's people there all the time, and they sit at those picnic tables for an hour or whatever, and drink and eat and whatever. You kind of need a spot to go to the bathroom, and if you can't have porta potty, which I get,
Where is their water source come from now?
their water source, I don't know. A well?
Well, they should be, there must be a septic system there, there was
a
that trailer
there,
there.
and they tied into the trailer septic, the
There.
trailer's water, the trailer.
On the septic.
A mobile home.
that's right, there used to be a trailer, you're right.
Right,
I
but-
forgot about that, yeah.
In the future, if someone else is setting up a non-permanent food truck that's gonna be there every day of the year, operating 6-7 days a week, I think we should require them to have at least one facility for them, even if it's a holding tank. Doesn't need to be a septic, cause that's a whole different ballpark, but
I don't think you can, my issue is that if you go to a food truck, like a food truck park, like what Kevin's saying, you go to Bangor, Portland, Boston, wherever, and there's a bunch of food trucks. They are set up, and there's public facilities around, so you can, it's at a park or on the water or whatever else, and usually there's a public bathroom nearby. So it's a little different circumstances around here, but there'll be a dozen food trucks right in a row, and they're there
Yeah.
all day, and then they pack up and go home at night.
Yeah.
But if I get what you mean there, and I think the easy solution would be to be able to have porta potty somewhere, is a quick solution, and I don't understand why we're not
well,
allowed
the
to
state
have
won't let it happen, so we gotta work around that.
I mean, in a situation like that, there's a septic system, you could put up a small wash house, or.
But that's what I'm saying, just a small wash house.
Yeah, something that jumps into the septic,
But for a new application,
require that.
they
Or-
might not be able to do a septic on their property.
Or a holding tank.
But they
Yeah.
could do a holding tank, and that would solve a lot of the problems that we're
Yeah.
dealing with here.
Yeah.
But they're not gonna do it because it's an additional investment unless they're required to do it, which I hate to tell people what to do, but it's making a lot of problems because they're going around
Yeah.
whatever rules
Yeah.
to be non-permanent, and it's,
Well, I mean, maybe that's something that should be brought into the 3-month section. You know, if they're there truly temporarily, you know, for 6 days a month or something like that, that's one thing. If they're there, you know, 7 days, 365 days a year, or 3 months straight or something, you know, maybe that's something that should be.
If you have
Yeah,
seating,
address
you
that.
don't wanna have it be a short term, cause what happens when someone comes down like the town dock? Then you say, oh,
Yeah.
well, you gotta have a portable you gotta have a facility, that doesn't make any sense.
I think if you have seating, you should have a place to do your business. If you don't have seating and they're just coming in their vehicle, grabbing their food and going, then there you go. But,
It'd be nice to have a place you can wash your hands before you eat too.
I mean, it makes sense to me, but maybe not to anyone else, but, I don't know.
I think that, Angie, what are your thoughts on this, or do you not wanna, I was gonna say, cause I thought it was, I thought that a year ago, maybe it didn't go through, but I thought that they said no more holding tanks. I thought that was a new thing, but if it didn't, is it easy to be able to get a holding tank? And I'm just trying to think of all of the, like, if, someone wants to set up a food truck at, I wanna say Archie's, down where they are, what would stop them from being able to have, a holding tank? You'd have to dig up but it's on waterfront property. I'm just trying to think of anything
Didn't
I'm not thinking
Archie start
of.
as a food truck though?
Yes, and
Right.
that's what I'm saying, like, I wanna make sure that we're thinking this through and we're not jumping on something.
Yeah, I'm just throwing an option out there.
I was gonna say, without seeing the holding tank state requirements, I don't know it off the top of my head, but I don't think you can have a holding tank if you can put in a septic system. So a site evaluator has to determine you can't put in a regular septic and then you can have a holding tank. But I don't think they're allowed for first time use in the shoreline either, so you would have to have one
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
water. There's quite a few restrictions, so
Yeah.
they're not people's first options.
And see, that becomes an issue then. Is there any way that we can allow, porta potties in town without the state? Is there a loophole there or not?
Well, the law recently changed on porta potties,
Mhm.
so it changed the other way. The porta potty business owners complained to the state, and so now they have backed off of that. So they are allowed, but there are some restrictions on them.
Well, beautiful, there you go.
That's easy, right?
That's easy, yeah.
But we said you couldn't have them for the long-term ones in this ordinance. If
See-
you're there for a weekend, or you're there for the backside blast, you can have porta potties, but
I think we should encourage them. Put,
if you're gonna be parked
put
on
in a half
site,
dozen.
if you're parked on site permanently,
Yes, yeah.
you shouldn't have a.
Have you
No, I'm
seen-
just thinking, something's better than nothing, and if
Yeah,
all these
absolutely.
restrictions are going for, like, holding tank and hooking up, then if you're gonna be there for more than, a couple months, or
You
8
should have
months.
something.
Yeah, even if you had a porta potty or two, I'd be,
There
geez.
should be a limit, you shouldn't have 30 out there.
Yeah.
You
I
can
was
have
kind of
two.
exaggerating a little bit when I said 6
Right,
there.
but if it was 2, maximum of 2, and you could say something to along the lines that if you have outdoor or indoor seating, you are required to have
Cause doesn't it require?
a porta potty.
And you said it's already required on the short-term ones, like if someone.
It's allowed, it's not
It's
allowed.
allowed,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean,
So-
it's not, you don't have to put a porta potty.
Okay,
there.
so when would this become a requirement, is my thing. We would have to set a date, like, if you're
So-
there for more than 30 consecutive days, or 60, or.
So currently it says temporary toilets are not permitted for any temporary sales proposed to operate at any one private property or location for more than 3 days in a row, 6 days in a 30-day period, or 3 consecutive months in the same location. So currently it says not permitted. I mean, you can change that to temporary toilets are required for
anything,
that length of time.
yeah, for
Yeah.
anything extending over a
Yeah.
certain period, is what I'm saying, like, not just because of what Keith said, but I'm just saying, if I was a neighbor on that abutting property, someone set up, if he brought a food truck to next door to my house tomorrow and started using it, if you're there for a week, it is what it is, but if you're there for over 30 days, yeah, probably appreciate it, cause you know it's, I mean, everybody's got a fistful of kids running around and you know they need to use the bathroom about every 30 seconds, so it's, I can see, you know, there being an issue, so if you were, if it was, you know, if we came up with a time on it. Okay.
The only, I mean, I think that, mowing my lawn, my neighbors often say, well, it sounds like he doesn't have to have porta potties, or dumpsters, but I think that's the biggest concern, is it's there year round, and there's usually 3 employees in there, and unless they leave and go somewhere, it's just so there, it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, I would think it would be a benefit to his business, and the neighbors would probably be happy, but, I mean, there's one, I think that maybe that's just standard, there's one 30-inch garbage can on the whole facility, the dumpsters were all the way, I don't know, sometime this spring, never seen a dumpster back there. But, so, I don't know, but I would think at least they would need to have them for, if they're getting a free pass and it's considered a permanent structure, then they should have to have at least maintain the basic standards of a bathroom. I don't wanna make I don't know, but I think Henry's great, I'm glad he's doing it. I never can tell when he's open, but it's nice to have more businesses in town, but I guess we need to figure out which one it is, if it's permanent or not permanent.
And I'm
You guys know who my neighbors are, they're pretty outspoken, I guess they should have come spoke for themselves, but their questions, and I just thought I mentioned it.
I think that I'm looking at, I'm kind of not thinking about his as much as I am new ones coming forward, cause I know, say, Tina reapplies for hers or something, and she has an actual food truck. She plans on having it there for more than 30 days. If it goes to appeals board again, you need to make sure that you have all these ducks in a row so that it's, and I think unless you see an issue, Angie, with using porta potties besides their appearance,
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that's their only option. If
No.
somebody's going to be there long-term, permanently, let's not say you have to throw a green porta potty out there, maybe they decide to build, something nicer.
but
They
they
should
need
have,
something.
they need to have a
Yes,
facility.
something,
Yeah.
I don't wanna say it has to be a temporary.
No,
Right.
yeah, if you just said it, I agree 100% with that, it has to be something, I just don't wanna say it has to be a holding tank, like Eric was talking about earlier, and then find out, well, you can't put a holding tank here, cause, you're in a wrong zone, or you're in whatever. Just should be an option to have a port, port.
Yeah, absolutely, I just thought that was not an option
Yeah.
by
I
the
know.
state, and there should be something.
Yeah.
If they wanna put a septic in, a holding tank, I don't care what they do.
Yeah, exactly, I agree.
There should be something, because, everyone knows, there should be something,
Yeah.
so.
I just wanted to comment, just to clarify to Mackenzie's comment about not throwing up roadblocks to people, which I agree with. I think, though it might not seem like it, this is an improvement to current roadblocks, because the way the language is currently written, and as Angie's described previous cases, Angie could issue a permit and then have the Board of Appeals overturn it and stop their business. Whereas in the new language, barring anything very strange, if Angie issues a permit, the Board of Appeals likely is going to uphold her permit because it specifically says Angie can do that in this case. Or it has to go to the planning board because of this, so you go through your planning board approval and you get your permit, and all is well there. The way it's written now, there's just multiple opportunities for neighbors to appeal and cause problems.
Yeah, and that's why I was thinking, I wasn't trying to be
Yeah.
problematic with it, I just wanted to, just thinking of, if I have, that's the last thing I ever want is a food truck. But if I ever had a food truck, and I wouldn't wanna have a generator running in there, if you would have something you can plug in, just little stuff like that, but if it ever goes to the appeals board, I wanna make sure that we're not, it seems like a very good thing to do, but I wouldn't want it to get kicked back because it doesn't have the right wording, that's all.
And I wouldn't want I don't want people to think that this is going to prohibit business. I mean,
Mm.
commercial uses are still allowed.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't fit under a food truck because you're operating in a way that's not
Yeah.
really what people think of as a food truck. But that doesn't mean you can't come and get approval for a commercial structure to
Yeah.
be a commercial use to, you have a lot of residential business areas that allow that type of use, so.
No, I think this is just a step in streamlining the process, and I think that you need to, well, you don't need to, but I think it has to be, addressed at some point, you know, all of the full planning board, what do you wanna call it, when they do their whole checklist. Like, there should be a lot of, stages to getting to that point. There's a lot of smaller things that don't need that full review, and this, you know, stuff like this should be pretty straightforward for them. But those few changes are stuff that I think would help in the future.
So what's the list of changes? Something to do with a facility?
Yeah.
And then what else did we have?
Power, as long as it's a plug, you can, you know, hook into power, it just needs to be some sort of a plug.
Removable
Yep.
plug and outlet.
As long as Angie agrees that that's
Yeah,
a
that's fine.
reasonable thing, yep. And the facilities timeline, like, if it's there more than 30
Yeah.
days,
Yeah. Whatever.
is that roughly a good timeline, do you think, Angie, or more or less? You tell me, I'm
No,
just
no,
trying to
that's
think.
fine.
Okay, just trying to think of any, that would allow for like a couple weekends if someone had something, they wouldn't have to, like an event, a
Mhm.
long event, that wouldn't affect that. It would be, if you're there more than 30 days, then you're probably there for,
Good.
yeah. You just need some sort of,
And obviously the cleanliness of that will reflect on their business, so they'll keep it clean.
yeah.
Um,
And even if, Henry, or actually, even if the existing permit doesn't need to follow these standards, I think that it would be nice if we encourage him to, put in some portable facilities for that. Or some sort of facility, I should say.
How can we,
Well, just, yeah, never mind.
yeah.
There's one other, change I don't think we went over, just to, makes more sense, Angie's moving the current language from performance standards to other land use activities in their standards, where it's physically placed in the ordinance right now, requires any project that goes through site plan review.
Yes.
Temporary sales is listed as a performance standard that they have to meet, so 9 times out of 10 it's not applicable, but it's just because it's in the wrong
Mhm.
place in the ordinance.
That's what I was thinking of earlier, Jesse, thanks. Site plan review, there we go.
I guess the only other thing that might be worth talking about is, what I saw 2 coolers or something on there, Angie, that you could have
Yep.
for external.
Yeah, so you can have, so your mobile vending unit's self-contained, but you can have 2 additional portable ice chest coolers. But you're not supposed to have tables, racks, or other devices to increase selling or display area, but you wanna put drinks or something in the cooler outside of the, unit, you can.
So, say someone set up, they needed a place to keep their food, like just keep frozen hot dogs in. Does that fall under the 2 coolers or within the 300 feet? Or can they plug in a freezer somewhere that they can have storage to keep their food properly?
I guess it would depend on the situation. I mean, if it's away from the unit, it's not visible, nobody would even know it was there, I wouldn't make it an issue. I wouldn't wanna see someone put a bunch of coolers in front of the
But I'm just
That's
saying,
not the intent.
I think that is an issue with the amount of space,
Yeah,
is the storage of the product.
yeah.
Most of them have them inside, Eric. I don't know if you've ever been in one, but they have built-in, and sometimes they have lower freezers, like pull-out ones that go underneath the counter, like right in the food trucks.
Well, right, that's
Yeah.
one day's worth of business.
Yeah.
That's not a week's worth of
Yeah,
business.
no, I get what you mean.
So I'm just wondering if there's anything restricting that.
Yeah.
You know, again, I think it's, I don't wanna say, no, nobody could absolutely do it, I wanna know what the situation is before, you know, I can say, that's in the spirit of what this intent is.
Right.
So it's
Yeah, I just
possible,
a thought,
yeah.
because we know the intention of food trucks. They're gonna be permanent, it seems like, for the most part, if they're coming in. All the ones in Southwest Harbor are up on the hill there, they don't move, they're all doing the same thing. Anyone else coming in is gonna do the exact same thing. So, just for a health and safety aspect, they should have a place to properly keep the food. I guess it could be at their house, and they can drive it there every day, and, you know, so that works too. I'm just throwing out ideas, not saying that we should do this or that, I'm just wondering about it, that's all.
Bring your hot dogs from home, Eric.
Okay. You will not see me own a food truck.
Yeah, I know, me neither. One thing I can guarantee you right there. I shouldn't say that either, I don't know.
Yeah.
Should be able to guarantee you. I want anything to do with the food business.
Yeah, people are the worst cargo, that's all I know.
I got a couple things on the outdoor markets too. Is it pretty standard to have a 50% restriction on farm products that have to come from your farm?
Yep,
Okay.
I actually did a lot of research on farmers markets, and then I kind of opened it up to just regular
Okay.
markets, because I didn't wanna just focus it to food.
Yeah.
But yes, the idea is that you don't have, somebody growing from Canada coming down and selling at a local farmer's
Okay.
market, so.
Yeah, I thought that sounded like it was, I just was curious. The one thing that concerns me is, see on that section, no live animals offered for sale. Does that include lobsters? I mean, if you get a fisherman that wants to set up at a farmer's market and sell lobsters?
They're
Well,
not an
yes,
animal.
Yeah,
Sure
as I
they
said,
are.
I wouldn't call a lobster an
Oh,
animal,
boy.
I'm sorry, Angie, I couldn't hear you, there was.
Well, I was gonna say, I wouldn't call a lobster an animal, so I would say, I would probably say that's allowed. I think the idea was there weren't goats and chickens.
Yeah, I kind of, to me, that excludes lobsters. And I mean, I think if you look at most categories, they're considered animals. I understand what you're saying, but, I mean, it's the same thing if someone's selling any kind of shellfish. I mean, they're normally sold live unless they're cooked, you know, ahead of time, you know. And I just wonder if there might be some other thing. I mean, especially with aquaculture taking on more and more. Maybe that could be worded a little differently. You know, I
Crustaceans are permitted. In this zone.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, I think that'd be a great marketing for someone,
Yeah.
especially someone young starting out. And I'd hate to see that excluded.
So,
I kinda know where you were going with it.
Yeah. And I can add something different if you
Okay.
want.
Mammals and birds or something.
I can see it if that ever hit appeals of some sort, yeah, in that.
Yeah,
I know.
we don't need to go
We're
there.
not micromanaging you, Angie, believe us, we're trying to think of
Yeah.
every little
Yeah,
tiny
no, that's
thing, yeah.
okay.
seafood besides whales? I mean,
Yeah.
No dolphins?
If you can get a live codfish down there, Kevin, then you're doing good,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think you'll see me eating that any quicker than you'll be
No.
doing that food truck.
So, Kevin, can you make sense of all the motion stuff that you need to say?
No.
'Cause I sure-
As amended.
Yeah.
I bushwhacked the last one, I'm not doing this one, I can tell you that.
I think you've understood everything we've discussed and asked you to do.
I'm gonna add some language about plugging in
Yeah.
sanitary facilities required for long-term use more than 30 days, and we wanna make sure people can sell lobsters.
There, that's-
Okay.
And lobsters.
Sure. Are we all done?
The only thing I was just thinking was the farm stand, farmer's market, whatever you wanna call it. That's just to permit the whole thing, right? So each person doesn't have to.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
actually,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's,
In
I
that
wanted to be clear.
Glad you mentioned
It
that.
says that you tell me how many vendors there
Okay,
are, and then
yep.
it's a number of vendors.
Yep. And so if they wanna have one again at school next year, then they have to go to the planning board.
I don't think so, because I
Okay.
actually met with them as I was writing this, and they were talking about doing, I don't know if it was every other Sunday, so they wouldn't fall under the timeframes
Yeah.
that would require them.
Well, even if they did it every Sunday, it was 6 days, wasn't it? The
Right.
trip that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
They should-
perfect.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that looks good to me.
Okay. I make a motion to, where are we? See if I
This
can
goes
make
for
it
public
semi.
hearing again, right? Yes.
Oh, wait, hang on, Kevin, before you make that motion. I know Jessica's gonna say don't worry about it, but should we, if we make all these changes or suggestions, should we let the planning board weigh in on this, or are we good? Good to go? Okay,
We'll just let them know.
okay. All right.
Okay, I make a motion to place an amendment to the land use ordinance entitled temporary sales on a ballot for the November 4th election, and including the changes we've asked the code enforcement officer to include, and recommend passage.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to place an amendment to the land use ordinance entitled temporary sales on the ballot for the November 4th, 2025 election as amended, and recommended passage. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Nope. All those opposed? All right. Thank you for listening to all of our conversation and.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
All right, next we have, town plow truck update. I don't know whether Warren wants to update us, or Jesse, do you wanna start, or,
It's everyone's favorite subject.
yeah,
I can go first. Last meeting you had requested that that we get quotes for a used, sander hopper for truck 2 like we did on truck 1, or a new. So the quote, is in your packet since we were meeting. I put it on there for you to make the decision. They have a used one for $14,200. A new one is $24,983. The new one does have a 60-day lead time to get the new one. I also mentioned the weight concern when I spoke to Stuart, and he suggested putting a steel plate under the spreader. That's included on the estimate. I believe he said it was a 2,500-pound steel plate. Warren got some updates on the status of repairs needed for truck 2 and truck 9. Truck 2 is in need of air tank and line replacements. There's a major hydraulic leak on the auger, but if you replace the body with new or used sander, that will likely take care of that.
and just to be clear, so everybody knows, you guys go by numbers, but truck 2 is the international big
The
truck.
orange body.
Okay. Just, yeah.
The air horn is inoperable, and there's some other small items that need fixing. Warren got a verbal that it's approximately $5,000 to nine has multiple hydraulic leaks, major corrosion on the wiring. He didn't come by, did he?
No, he didn't stop by today, but he was leaning towards the fact that the truck should more likely be replaced than fixed, but either way.
Truck nine is the Ford 550, the oldest, so it's a 14.
And that's the one last year that went to Allen's for a transmission issue, shift issue. Just-
Yes, yes.
Is that the one that's up the BFPs that they haven't even taken the sand off the headboard where they overloaded it last?
That's the one that's in.
That hasn't been cleaned out or anything done to it?
Truck three, which is the 16, is the one that had the diesel work done to it.
Yeah.
So that's a different.
Yep. Yeah, I think that the steel plate is probably, 2,500 pounds will add up on the back end. I wish it was more, but that's still 2,500 pounds, so that's probably gonna help quite a bit. Be nice if it was about, 5,000 on the back, it really would, that would probably make the difference on the, but it's,
I mean, I think he had indicated we could increase it.
Just go up the thickness of the plate.
yeah, but just try it, see how cause the other one needs to be done, so.
Right, but if you're concerned that it's gonna be light, then now's the time to do it.
How much is a body weigh, Howdy, that size? Just
What,
trying to
the
think.
sander?
No, dump body,
The one that's on
roughly.
it, or
Oh,
the orange
It must weigh 3,000 or 4,000.
I was thinking, yeah,
Oh.
4,000.
yeah,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
I was gonna say probably 5 with the, cause that's got the auger and everything in it too, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's probably 5 at
Yeah.
least.
and you're at 4,000, right, with the new one would be about 2,000 pounds, roughly, in the plate, so you're 1,000 pounds light, so go up to 1.5 inch thickness with your plate.
And that would offset it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be overloaded, right, with, yeah,
No.
no.
If you went up on your, whatever if they can't get inch, I don't know about, what I'm wondering, Eric, is if they can get 1.5 inches easy enough. I know a lot of people don't stock over, so, but if they did inch and then or 1.25 inches, you could run a piece of 1/2 inch on top of it if they had to.
Yeah, you don't wanna double up those.
I know, yeah,
It's
so
gonna
you're
rot
gonna
out.
have a seam,
You're gonna add quite a bit of weight difference if you go with the highway sander compared to the salt dog, cause the salt dog is about half thickness and half the,
So the used one is heavier. is what
oh
you're
yes,
saying.
yeah, I went online this morning and this is what I read, it says the salt dog is for smaller commercial and residential jobs, while highway sanders specialize in heavy-duty equipment for municipal and large-scale commercial use, so.
And the
So,
salt dog.
so the two quotes aren't equivalent equipment at all?
No,
Okay,
I mean, that's, I mean,
yeah.
Salt dog's more expensive and lighter,
Yeah.
yeah,
and not heavy duty.
right,
Well,
I mean, I wrote it right down from what I,
Yeah,
Yeah,
makes sense.
That one's new, the other one's used,
yeah.
right,
Nothing wrong
Remember
with
we bought a
used.
used one last time, a year ago, and that worked out fine. I mean, knock on wood, it seemed to have worked out fine so far, but what's the brand of the one that we got last year, the light duty,
that's the salt dog
the
also.
pickup truck one, the
The
5?
one that's up there that
Yeah, cause that one
the
was
screen is all
chintzy.
folded down and
Yes,
everything.
that's the salt one.
Yeah,
That's
I
what-
would not buy another one of those brands because I think that's pretty chintzy for what it is for, it should be a little ruggeder built and for what
Well,
we,
like I
it's
said,
fine for a
as I
small
wrote
one.
down what it said, it's
Yeah.
for small commercial and residential
Yeah.
jobs, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
we bought that from Bangor Truck though, didn't we?
The
Sander for the 550, the new
Yeah.
one? Yeah, okay. I just was curious as to
Well-
who. Yeah, I think we did.
I think so.
That's what the body was.
So, if you ask them to increase the price, we can't put in an amount on, or increase the plate, we can't put an amount on the price. Can't put a price on it right now.
No, but you could just do the sander price, cause I can spend,
$5,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
if you approve the sander price.
What do you guys think? I like the used used heavier duty sander and getting it fixed for $5,000, the rest of the truck.
Yeah, and as far as truck two, air tanks and lines, that's just part of it. Yeah, the hydraulic leak with the auger, that's obviously not gonna be an issue. Air horn, these are all just like maintenance
Regular
crap
maintenance.
that's gonna be done,
Right.
and this happens all the time, so if you wanted to coat that thing, we throw a used sander on there, I think probably surprise you how long you'll get out of it, so. at
But it's
least
gotta be
for-
taken care of
Yeah.
next spring when
Yeah.
it's done. I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah,
can't be
for
left
sure.
like this stuff did this year.
Yeah,
All winter it needs to be taken care of,
Right.
yeah,
all year.
I mean, and like, for instance, that, all the stuff that goes to that Bobcat is inside the salt shed up there right now, the attachments. It's just in there rusting. I mean, it should be kept away from the salt shed.
I motion to purchase the used sander from Allied Equipment at the cost of $14,200 for truck two.
Second.
been moved and seconded to purchase the used sander from Allied Equipment at a cost of $14,200 for truck two. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Jesse, do you need a motion for the repairs?
No, as long as you're fine with that, and steel plate, you wanna do request inch and a half,
Yeah, or whatever they can,
whatever.
just
Or-
tell him what our concerns
Yeah.
are. And if they bump it up, just say that we wanna make sure it's heavy enough, so anything we can do to help. Like Howdy said, that is gonna be a lot heavier unit, so if they can't get inch and a half, they want an inch and a quarter, it's gonna be probably 500 pounds more, so it's better than nothing.
Okay,
And also, just to put on I don't wanna be in the same boat we were in last year. We need to get this truck, the 550, checked out. Obviously, I know it's being checked out, but we wanna make sure we get that ball rolling, because if they say that thing needs $10,000-15,000 worth of work, I know it's a third truck, but as we've all seen, it doesn't take 2 seconds for, one of the other ones to break down, then you're sitting here with one working 550 in winter, first storm hits, and you're going, So, sooner we know about that, the sooner we're gonna have to make a decision on getting something else.
Yeah, I'd suggest getting that sand shed filled up now while it's dry, and
Yeah.
then you're not getting freezing clumps and everything else, but, I mean, it's not gonna get any drier than it is right now.
Yeah.
No. What do you mean last week was dry?
Let's hope, let's hope not.
as far as truck 9 goes, you want me to put that on your September 15th meeting?
Yeah,
And
we-
we'll bring you the estimate, and depending what that is, bring you options.
Yeah. I think definitely, because if that's a 14, I mean, that thing is gonna be 12 years old here pretty shortly. And if we throw, $15,000 at it, it's not gonna be worth $15,000 hardly. The body, the body's not that great, is it?
That one has a stainless steel.
Oh, that one has a stainless,
It's got a nice body.
So we could actually save the body.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
theory, we could say, geez, that'd be worth its weight in gold right there. If that's the one with the stainless body, if we swapped it over, those bodies now are, $15,000, whatever they are.
Steel
I know my kids.
Regular
I love talking about trucks. No.
Regular steel is like
Fun.
20.
It was like 20 for a regular
Sarah and
steel,
I are
yeah.
sleeping.
Well, yeah, that would be,
Give us a number.
that would be, do you agree with that, Howdy?
What's that?
That would be money in the bank. If a steel one's $20,000, keep the stainless one that is on that truck, peel it off and put it on a new truck. If it's in decent shape, save $25,000 or whatever,
Yeah, you just buy
a
a
chassis.
chassis,
Yeah,
put the plow on it, put sander on it, and keep it rolling.
Right, that's all we need is the check.
nice. Well, that'll save us a ton of money, you know.
I did look at that truck too, and it should get pretty soft underneath, just the regular stuff that you need inspection for, rock panels, frame's pretty rusted out, but the rest, yeah, the body's great.
Is the plow good, Warren?
As far as I know, it's okay.
Okay, yeah, so all we'd have to have then, just so Jesse knows what to ask for, we need to have a 550 diesel with plow gear set up. Preferably not hooked up by the same company that did it last time, please.
Nope.
And then the extras, like the heated windshield wipers and backup camera.
Danny, or something like that?
Ford does, but I don't use it. That's
No.
just me.
Yeah, so just the new one.
Yeah, and I don't
Heated
care at
mirrors.
this point, I don't care what the brand is, as long as they'll service it. I'm not much on the, getting it from Whited, because prior to us being here, everybody bought from Whited and they gave us a huge wait last time, so. I
Was
would
it
be-
the O'Connor's in Augusta that has the commercial lot with all the commercial, I think that is.
I think that's where Justin Lee buys a lot of their
They
stuff.
got a lot of chassis
Yeah,
that are
but
a
last
lot of
time,
options.
Quirk gave us, by far the way best deal, and said they would take care of it, so. Yeah, I don't care what the brand is, just,
Okay.
even if it's a Chevy, I guess, I don't know. Howdy's like you speak for
I know,
yourself
Howdy's
there, yeah.
shaking.
I know, I hate to say it, Howdy, I know, it goes against my grain, say that I'm okay with a Chevy.
Good. Buying a real truck.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, it can be a Ford or a Dodge if you guys drive it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright. We're through with that. Next we have regional collaboration.
Just two quick updates, the unregulated intoxicating hemp products, since your last meeting, the town of Southwest Harbor has finalized a draft ordinance banning the sale of these products, and they're sending that to voters in November. The town of Mount Desert is interested in an ordinance and has sent letters in conjunction with the chamber to businesses in Mount Desert asking them to stop selling the products voluntarily. I have not heard what any other towns in the league may be doing, but it'll be on our agenda in September. Following your last meeting, Jamie had a discussion with, the owner at Hanson's about, the placement of the products over there. And I know she was very cooperative and quick to address the concerns Jamie relayed from the board, if you wanna add anything
Yeah.
to that.
So I mentioned it to Jane, she had heard talk about it anyhow, where that's our only store in town. She said she definitely doesn't, just hadn't heard those concerns. Soon as she did, she immediately moved that little cooler, just a small one, that day, put it on top of like a wine cooler, so it can't be, you'd have to be quite tall just to be able to reach in it. Says right on the front, 21 and over, whatever it says, THC or something product. And as far as, she went through everything with me and I took pictures of it I've got, so I could show you guys. Any of her other stuff that's like, I think the only thing she has is gummies or
Yeah.
whatever it is, that is in behind in a case, so that's never out. She'll never have anything exposed. And I asked her how important it was to her to be able to sell that. She said it's not a big part of her business, it's just like any small business, everything adds up. So my thought on it after speaking with her was, as long as she works with us, she's our only store in town, she cures the problem and there's no issues, then I could understand if we had someone that didn't cooperate or didn't want to work with us, but she was instantly helpful with it.
Yeah, so, I mean, based on your prior conversations, my understanding is that it's good to leave it the way it is until the state wants to implement rules next spring. Unless any of you think otherwise. Housing, just reminding you that the elected officials workshop is October 30th. Hopefully, several of you can attend. It'll be when we start on 30th, 5:30.
That's it?
That's it.
All right, next is town manager's report.
Over the last couple weeks, I attended the manager conference. I had a Zoom meeting, several Zoom meetings with the attorneys, regarding the Cousins case. I had a meeting with Climate Thrive on ongoing grants that we have. Filed the new grant application with the state for the next round of the grant. I had a conversation with Senator Grohowski regarding, the state's new tax committee, property tax committee, that she is the co-chair of, so we talked about some property tax reform things. Prep for the EMS planning meeting, meeting prep for this meeting. The 4 MDI managers, met last week to discuss the Town Hill housing parcel with the park in the town of Bar Harbor having. Bar Harbor's been working a lot on that, and they wanted to double check that all the managers felt they were going in the direction that we were all comfortable with. Once they, present those to the Bar Harbor Council, I believe on the 16th, someone from the park in Bar Harbor will be coming to the other select board meetings to update them on where that's going. I attended the EMS planning meeting and had a meeting with, residents of Lighthouse Road. Office staff was busy with BMV reports, attending dog licensing training, election prep, typing select board minutes. Sarah filled in doing payroll while Jan was on vacation. Katie filled in, several days for the town of Trenton. They had a staffing issue and asked if they could, borrow an employee through our, mutual aid, non-emergency mutual aid. So Katie filled in up there. And, Sarah and Katie repainted the main office wall when you walk in. It's now, green.
Looks very nice.
Looks very nice. Public Works was busy with town office trash cleanup, town garage reorganization, pressure washing the case, greasing all the fittings and topped off all the fluids. Trimmed north end of Kellytown Road to improve visibility. Dropped truck 2 off at Caldwell's, pressure washed and cleaned truck 9. Sander was here, road patched Clark Point Road, changed the broom core on the Bobcat. Empty trash cans at Back Beach and Hillrest, assisted Bass Harbor Library with, mulching of the gardens. Cleared the Hanson's Corner over here across the street from us, they cleared back so you can see easier
Yeah, I thought it looked better.
when you're turning this way. They had truck 3 and 4, inspection and maintenance, winter prep, mowed and trimmed, Ben Gott Cemetery, Norwood Cemetery. Installed a sign out at Seal Cove, mowed and trimmed Bass Harbor Library, Hillrest, Head of Harbor, and, started crushing up, traps the harbor master requested help with. And they started leveling the parking lot by the Tremont School. Harbor master was busy with wharf cleanup, a repair on the stairs, dealing with wharf permit renewals, reminding people. Trap removal, replaced the speed marker in the harbor, eastern boat repair, removing some boards from the harbor, and took the, police officer out to God's Island. Over the next few weeks, I have a meeting, tomorrow, I believe, Zoom meeting with Inland Fisheries to discuss the deer, plan, and follow-up meeting with the attorneys regarding the Cousins case.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. Suggestions for the next meeting? Date of the next meeting?
Motion to confirm the date of the next meeting for Monday, September 15th, 2025 at 5 p.m. at the town office.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to confirm the date of the next meeting for Monday, September 15th, 2025, 5 p.m. at the town office. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Lastly, we have an executive session titled Land Acquisition.
I make a motion to go into executive session as permitted by MRSA 405.6.c for consideration of acquisition or disposal of real property or rights therein, since premature disclosure of this information could prejudice the competitive or bargaining position of the town.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded Go into executive session is titled Land Acquisition and is read by Kevin. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All right, we are out of executive session at 7:17.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?